And finally, 5 years ago, the world watched in horror as George Floyd gasped for breath under the knee of a Minneapolis police officer. His final words, "I can't breathe," echoed across continents and into history. On Sunday, his family and communities nationwide gathered in remembrance, with many asking, has anything really changed? Our final report looks at the fight for justice that was ignited by George Floyd's death, which now stands at a crossroads.
Five years after George Floyd's murder shocked the world, Americans gathered in solemn remembrance. From the Minneapolis intersection where he drew his last breath to the hospital where he now rests. While heartfelt tributes poured in and crowds rallied for justice, the momentum for lasting police reform appears to be losing steam. In Minneapolis, the site of Floyd's killing by former police officer Derek Chauvin became the heart of the annual Rise and Remember festival. George Floyd Square, once a makeshift memorial, hosted a gospel concert, a church service, and calls to action from activists and community leaders. Simultaneously, in Floyd's hometown of Houston, family, friends, and local leaders gathered near his gravesite. Civil rights leader Reverend Al Sharpton led a memorial service, urging political leaders to finish what began in 2020, meaningful and enforceable police reform.
It was 1955 when they started the Montgomery bus boycott. We didn't get the Civil Rights Act in Congress until 1964. They kept fighting for 9 years, and they never gave up. And we 5 years later will not give up. They can cancel consent decrees, but they can't stop us from implementing them. The mayor of Minneapolis said they're going to abide by it anyway. We're going to keep the pressure on. In George's name, policing will not be the same in the United States of America.
Floyd, a black man, was killed in May 2020 after Chauvin, a white Minneapolis police officer, knelt on his neck for over 9 minutes during an arrest. Floyd was arrested after a store worker reported that he made a purchase using a counterfeit $20 bill. This incident, captured on a bystander's phone, ignited worldwide protests. It also renewed urgency to confront racial injustice and police brutality. Chauvin was sentenced to over 2 decades in prison, and several other officers involved were also convicted for failing to intervene. The protests, dubbed the Black Lives Matter Summer, spurred a brief flurry of policy action. Under then-President Joe Biden, the Justice Department launched civil rights investigations into police departments in Minneapolis, Louisville, Phoenix, and Lexington, Mississippi. Investigations uncovered systemic misconduct, leading to federal oversight agreements requiring better training, data collection, and accountability. But in 2025, those efforts are hitting resistance. President Donald Trump, who's now back in office, has declared many of these reforms flawed and unnecessary. His administration dismissed the Justice Department's findings as based on incomplete data and claimed that consent decrees were handcuffing local police. Trump's administration is also dismantling the Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Initiative, or the DEI, many of which were adopted in the wake of Floyd's death. In Washington, D.C., the mayor removed the iconic Black Lives Matter mural, which once adorned a street near the White House. And in a symbolic blow in Floyd's hometown, a mural dedicated to him was destroyed during a building demolition. The mood across the country is now marked by a complicated blend of remembrance, frustration, and fading hope. For many, Floyd's death anniversary isn't just a memorial, it's a reminder of promises unkept and justice still out of reach. The question now is, will the memory of George Floyd continue to drive change, or will it be buried along with him under the weight of political backlash and public fatigue.